Remember the Winnipeg Jets from a couple months ago? The team that was the toast of the NHL, sitting on top of the standings looking like an unstoppable force with the best goaltender in the league? Yeah, that same team just got steamrolled in the first round of the playoffs by the Colorado Avalanche in 5 games. Not exactly the storybook-ending Jets fans were hoping for after one of the most dominant regular seasons in franchise history. So what the hell happened? How does a team go from potentially winning the President's Trophy to getting bounced in the first round? Let's take a deeper look at the collapse of the Winnipeg Jets and try to make sense of this playoff disaster. First, let's remember just how good this Jets team was in the regular season. At the All-Star break, Winnipeg was 32-9-5, good for 69 points in just 46 games. They were on pace for 123 points, which would have been the best in franchise history by a country mile. Connor Hellebuyck was putting up video game numbers with a .25 save percentage and multiple shutouts. This team looked like they were built for a deep playoff run. The defense was suffocating, the offense was clicking, and the special teams were humming. Remember that power play? It was a thing of beauty, with Nikolai Ehlers and Mark Scheifele running that near-perfect 1-3-1 formation, shifting positions to create those cross-ice one-timers that goalies had no chance on. The penalty kill was just as good, with players willing to sacrifice their bodies to block shots and keep Hellebuyck's workload manageable. And that's what made this team so damn impressive. They didn't rely solely on Hellebuyck to win games. They had that balanced attack with Gabriel Vilardi emerging as a legitimate top 6 forward. The young guys like Cole Perfetti were taking the next step, and vets like Adam Lowry were playing the best hockey of their careers. But if we're being honest with ourselves, there were warning signs heading into the playoffs. After that blistering first half, the Jets went 19-16-3 the rest of the way. That's essentially a .500 hockey team, which isn't going to scare anybody in the playoffs. The offense, which looked so dynamic early in the season, dried up. In their final 20 regular season games, the Jets averaged just 2.65 goals per game, which would rank 25th in the league over a full season. Players who were carrying the mail earlier in the year disappeared. Kyle Connor's shooting percentage plummeted. Ehlers cooled off. Suddenly, those creative zone entries that had penalty killers spinning weren't working anymore. Defensively, the team was still solid. Dylan DeMello and Josh Morrissey were still playing at a high level, but the depth pieces started showing cracks. Teams were finding ways to expose the more defensively challenged blue liners like Neil Pionk in ways they weren't earlier in the season. And then there was the matter of their record against top teams, against Colorado, Dallas, and Vegas, the cream of the crop in the West. The Jets went a combined 4-8-1 in the regular season. Not exactly inspiring confidence for a potential playoff matchup. When the playoffs rolled around, we all wondered which Jets team would show up. The world beaters from the first half or the mediocre squad from the second half. Unfortunately for Winnipeg fans, it was the latter. Game 1 gave false hope. The Jets came out flying, won 7-6 in a wild back-and-forth affair that had Rick Bowness looking like he was about to have a heart attack on the bench. But even in victory, the warning signs were there. Hellebuyck giving up 6 goals? That's not the recipe for playoff success. Then the wheels fell off. 4 straight losses, each more depressing than the last. The Avalanche exposed every weakness the Jets had and created some new ones along the way. First, they absolutely neutralized Winnipeg's forecheck. Remember that aggressive F1 and F2 pressure that created so many turnovers in the regular season? Colorado's mobile defensemen made that look like a peewee strategy. Cale Makar and Devin Toews were breaking the puck out with ease, making the Jets forwards look like they were skating in quicksand. Then there was the matter of the special teams. That once lethal Jets power play went an abysmal 2 for 18 in the series. A success rate of 11.1% isn't going to cut it in the playoffs. Colorado's aggressive penalty kill pressured the point, taking away that comfortable setup time that Morrissey needed to quarterback the PP. And when the Jets did get shots through, Alexander Georgiev was there to shut the door. On the flip side, the Avalanche power play carved up the Jets' penalty kill. Nathan McKinnon and Mikko Rantanen were picking corners like they were playing in a practice drill, not a playoff game against supposedly one of the best defensive teams in the league. Now, I know what you're thinking, but what about Hellebuyck, the Hart Trophy finalist and best goalie in the league? Surely he kept the Jets in it. Well, not exactly. Look, Hellebuyck wasn't awful. His .891 save percentage in the series isn't going to win any awards, but it's not like he was letting in softies from the red line. The problem was that he wasn't superhuman, which is what the Jets needed him to be with the way the skaters in front of him were playing. The biggest issue was the high danger chances. Colorado got to the danger areas at will, and even Hellebuyck can't stop point-blank chances from elite shooters consistently. The Avalanche had 24 high danger chances in Game 4 alone. I don't care if you've got prime Dominik Hasek in net, that's not sustainable. And that's the thing about relying on goaltending too much, it's great until it isn't. Hellebuyck kept them in games they had no business being in all season. When he was merely good instead of otherworldly in the playoffs, the house of cards collapsed. Beyond the X's and O's, there's also the mental aspect to consider. This Jets team has been through the playoff ringer before and consistently come up short. At some point, that starts to weigh on a group. When Colorado took control of the series, you could see the here we go again mentality creep in. The body language on the bench in games 3 and 4 told the story. Players staring at the ice, no communication, coaches looking lost for answers. It was the look of a team that deep down didn't truly believe they could beat Colorado 4 times in 7 games. It's that killer instinct, that belief in themselves that separates good teams from great ones in the playoffs. The Jets can talk all they want about learning experiences and building for next year. But at some point, you have to wonder if this core group simply doesn't have what it takes mentally to get over the hump. So where do the Jets go from here? That's the million-dollar question that GM Kevin Cheveldayoff has to answer this summer. The core is locked up long-term. Hellebuyck, Scheifele, and Connor aren't going anywhere with their contracts. Morrissey is still one of the best defensemen in the league. There's young talent in the pipeline with Perfetti, Rutger McGroarty, and Brad Lambert, but this feels like a team that needs a bit of a shakeup. Whether that's a coaching change, a trade involving one of the core pieces, or just a recalibration of expectations, something has to give. Because the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. Maybe they look to add some speed on the wings to match up better with teams like Colorado. Maybe they need more sandpaper in the bottom 6, guys who can disrupt the clean zone exits that hurt them so badly against the Avalanche. Or maybe they just need a culture change, someone to come in and instill that killer instinct that seems to be missing when the games matter most. Whatever the solution, one thing is clear. The Jets can't run it back with the same group and expect different results. This playoff disappointment should be the catalyst for change in Winnipeg, not just another we'll get 'em next year moment. Because right now, the Jets look like the regular season lions and playoff lambs that NHL history is littered with. And unless something changes, they're destined to be remembered as one of the great what-could-have-been teams of this era. They've got the pieces to be special, but until they figure out how to elevate their game when it matters most, they'll be stuck in the same cycle of regular season success and playoff disappointment. So, what do you think, Jets fans? Is this team still on the right track, or is it time to blow it up and try something new? Let us know in the comments below, and as always, thanks for watching.